And so it is. Greetings, my beloved Imzaia. I am Ekara, cosmic being and sovereign servant of free energy. It is my pleasure to see all of you here again. And of course, I am not just speaking to all of those who happen to be sitting in these chairs right now. I am speaking to, as always, the entire planet. I speak to the heart of all things, which is to be found in the heart of all things. I speak to men and women alike. I speak to the chakra of the head, the chakra of the heart, and the chakra of passion, located in the belly. I speak to the stars and to the planets, to the mineral life, to the animal life, and to the plant life, my good old friends. And I speak to all humans who have ever been, are now, and shall ever be on planet Earth. It isn't so irregular for an energy like this one to come back through time to give you information that would fulfill a timeline that is still waiting in essence to happen. It is indeed normal that these things do occur. It is irregular, however, to believe that you are in a timeline, to believe that you are linear, that you have a past that you have lived, a now that is unfolding right now, and a future that is yet to show up. It's the biggest joke in the universe to think like that, especially if you would see the geometry, especially if you would see the shape of things the way they really are. So let's look at these things. Last time, when we opened the Mastering the Grand Illusion series, we started looking at the way things actually work. And today, as we bring you the second part of that same information, we will explore further. That is what the human spirit, that is what the human energy, consciousness is all about, isn't it? Exploration. The exploration of all that is. The exploration of space. And you are all the explorers, of course. So let's explore them. And let's bring in the sovereign circle of support, as they will be very important in the coming days. I'm talking about Adamus and about all of the others that have supported you the last times that you had your gatherings here in places such like this. These beings are always around you. They are part of you. They are within your DNA, like you are in everybody's DNA, and like everybody is in your DNA. You need to know about DNA that it's not a linear strand or a set of linear strands. Just weeks ago, the energy being of magnetic service that I be friend and be brother and be sister to, it calls itself Cryon, has spoken about DNA not showing up as a linear energy, but showing up in a loop. Let's take the next step today. I'm going to tell you that DNA doesn't show up in a loop. Actually, it shows up in a spiral. But a spiral that is not linear. If you think, Imzaia, of a spiral, You see a spiral as a linear event where you go up and up and up and up. Nothing could be further from the truth in an infinite existence. A spiral isn't something that is walked upon. A spiral is something that is experienced as a whole. But to understand these principles, I'm going to have to take you on a journey. And it's a journey that is not going to last for just a couple of hours. It is going to last 5 days. As you know, you have so much potential. There is so much that you can manifest, so many pathways that you could follow. But if you focus on the pathway that shows the highest of potentials, then we can make this journey together. So let's do that now. Let's start there. Let's open ourselves up, all of us. As the sovereign circle keeps coming in, I want you to feel Adamas and Kutumi and Kuan Yin, even Imzaia, as there is potential in the coming 5 days. What you could unfold here, that this grand energy that again has transported me through time and space to be here right now, that this energy could come back and speak, for it has lots to say to those who are ready to hear it. And that being ready is not of a docile kind of nature. That being ready is about being empowered. Being ready is about understanding that the next bits of inner wisdom that are about to unfold are to be found within, in the seed of the lotus flower that you open up every day as you open your eyes in the morning. The question that you could ask yourselves every morning is my lotus going to find its way all the way to the surface, or is it going to give up today, like most days, just somewhere in troubled water, like most days? What else is troubled water then than the drama of your life? So, will your lotus today completely unfold? And will you allow it tonight to go deep again, to connect to the core again, so that in the coming day the same process might be repeated? If you think from this point of view, the evolution of planet Earth, and as such, the evolution of this universe as a whole, and all the universes around this, are happening faster than you think. So allow then this being, Imzaia, great servant of photonic, tachyonic nature, the rim of all that is itself, creating you from God and separating you from God, to let this speak again. Let this be a challenge for the coming days. Together with this energy, find all the guidance that has always been around you. This time, I'm asking you not to see these energies twirling around you, going around you. I'm asking you to feel them within. Like the great being, Janosch, that has found ways to activate the sacred geometry that lives within you, so you have the ability to see these beings, like myself, and like all the others, including Satya, all the others, as geometric patterning showing up in your DNA. That's where it all is. Everything around you is a geometric pattern that appears in your DNA. You see? So this time, when this sovereign circle of support and energy washes your feet, when they rub your shoulders, let it take place from within and not from without. That's always the space. Now to get back to the beginning. DNA, not a loop, but a spiral. And not a linear spiral, but an infinite spiral. That means that all events that are placed on the spiral of DNA are not scripting themselves out one after the other, but all DNA events within your multidimensional being, including your body, are occurring at the same time. That means that your DNA is not preparing to grow old one day, but that within the DNA sequencing, and especially within strand number 72, which is a 9 energy, lies the secret of eternal youth. There is a little smile somewhere. Eternal youth, they think. It's very interesting. It's not as interesting as you might think. Eternal youth has nothing to do with potions. It has nothing to do with staying fit. It has nothing to do with annual checkups that you need to do at the hospital. And it has nothing to do with performing intercourse 3 times a day, as some people might think. It has to do with, obviously, the linear timeline. And how the linear timeline either unfolds around the spiral that is DNA, or how it unfolds within the DNA. If you were to manage, my beloved creators, if you were to manage to manifest linear time within the energy patterning that is your DNA, and again I ask you to look at strand number 72. Scientists will know what I mean, for this is one of the strands that is ending up in your junk DNA where they forget to look, supposedly. Then you have uncovered the power of linear time. You see? So, if you look at the spiral that we were talking about just now, and if you can make sure that this spiral is infinite rather than linear, then you need not walk the spiral, which would be the script that you call life, but you have access to all of the moments that were cut up so you would experience a linear timeline. You have access to all those moments at once. I know I might be sounding a little bit vague right now, but I'm just getting into it. We're just taking some time to build up some real understanding from your akene. And as we build up, let me interrupt for a minute here before we continue with our discussion on DNA. And let me tell you a little bit more about the working of this type of ekaraia and the working of speaking from the heart of all things, and how this connects to the akene, and what the akene has to do with all of this. It's basically very simple. As you are hearing these words, they are not coming from an external source. They are not coming from anywhere outside of you, just like all the people around you aren't coming from anywhere outside of you. It is the akene that is generating these words. And as such, a discussion from the heart of all things is in fact taking place in your own heart. It's the same principle, really. It's the same principle that we talked about when we were talking just before about the infinite spiral of DNA. There is no place to come from, there is no place to be, and there is no place to go to. There is just a place that is all things. Call it a heart, if you will, a foundation. Call it a bubble where you are experiencing everything all the time. This would be another description, my beloved, of that which you call the akene. So if you are hearing these words, if you are listening to them, or watching them, or if you are reading them, know that they are taking place and are being formed from within. I invite you, all of you, after this ekaraia, to come together and to discuss the things that you have heard, supposedly, like that would be coming from the outside. Look at those things and talk to each other about it. I am sure that all of you will have heard something different. All of you will have created for yourselves a different type of message. And you see, my beloved Imzaia, as Adamus told you a while ago, a new type of energy broadcasting, such as channeling or ekaraia, would come about after January 28th, 2008. If you listen back to the last 5 minutes of my talk with you, you will know what I am talking about. For that is a lot closer to the truth that you are living right now. It is all coming out of you. Ah yes, we already know this, Ekara. Let's get on with it. What about that infinite spiral anyway? Yes, you know it. And then my usual question is, do you live it? Or should I say, do you emit it? Oh, Imzaia, this is of such vital importance. Do you emit it? You can listen to ekaraias and channels until you're blue in the face, or whatever color. You can read all the books, do all the work. If you are not emitting it, you are not doing anything. You can walk around all your life, deep within yourself, having all the spiritual knowledge that you'll ever need, and you could think, I am that I am that I am. I am the Master. If you are not emitting it, then you are fooling yourselves. That is the nature of your responsibility. Much like the infinite layers of DNA, you too, as a DNA strand, an unlimited number of DNA strands, in fact, have unlimited moments. And you have supposedly experienced many of these moments in the past. And you call it a past timeline. And you might, best case scenario, experience many moments in the future. And you think that there is either one future waiting for you, or that by some intervention of your part, some other potential timelines might open up. I am here to tell you that you have only lived, and I am serious right now, and I'm asking Adamus for some help here, 0.000179524320%. Thank you, Adamus. Of all the potentials that are available to you. And I am just talking about your past. I'm not even talking about the future. Have you ever thought that your life, as you have lived it, is fixed? That's a bad thought, because it is a false assumption. You think that as you continue this path on to mastery, at a certain moment, you will open up and you will see the light. A little less green. Oh yes, there it is. You open up and you see the light, and then your future just blossoms open in front of you. What you don't understand is that it isn't just your future opening up, it is your past opening up as well. That is truly the nature of an infinite existence. You see? You will no longer be thinking about linear time and days and hours and minutes and the following day and what is in your schedule and what you need to do in order to get the airplane tickets next week so that you can do the things next week that you need to do. Those thoughts will be far removed from your essence, as they are far removed from your essence. They matter not. Nothing matters when it comes to linear time. It's the biggest illusion of all, that you are born to live a life and then to die again, and that you do that within a set of predefined time and space, and even to think that you might have an influence on that so that you can prolong your future and your remainder here on the planet is an illusion. It isn't about the length of your stay. It is about the wholeness of your stay. If you don't look at yourselves as somebody always running after time, because time is money. If you look at yourself as a human who is always on the right space at the right time, not having to know what is going to come next, then you allow yourselves that you don't need to know what came before. Do you know the importance of the memory of the now, as you have been learning how to work with the akene? We have told you about the third brain, We have told you about storing information in the third brain and how that experience, how that storage space basically is holding you back. It's holding you back because you keep adding importance to moments of the past that were illusions anyway. That's what you do. And then you say, oh, do you remember those days when we were in Paris, having a drink, and when we were walking next to the Seine, and we kissed for the first time? No, we didn't. It never happened, so you can't remember that. You cherish so many memories. You cherish your pain too. You cherish the death of others. And you buy flowers one time a year and you go on to graves. Graves. The concept itself makes me grave. Anyway, you do that. And you remember pain. You honor pain. You say from a past event, even if it was a romantic one or a painful one, that it is worth remembering because it is part of who you are. Crap. It's not part of who you are. It is a little potential of who you are. And you think that because you accidentally ran through that timeline, which is your past, that this is your identity. Oh, little human. How little the mind really is. Oh, big creator. How much room for consciousness is there still left? If you truly and fully realize what I am talking about right now, then you will realize that there is almost 100%, almost, I'm not going to ask Adamus to do the math now, almost 100% of potential past energy that you can still experience. That is the true essence of the infinity sign. That is it. I'm getting up. If you see yourself in the I am space that is always taking place right here in the center of the infinity sign, and if you would be so linear for a moment, I'm sorry, to choose to see the right part of that infinity sign as the future and the left one as the past, then you would think that there is a path that you have followed here that will eventually lead you to the future and lead you right back. Problem is that you are thinking, how shall I say this? You are thinking in layers. And the problem is, you are thinking in one-layered dimensions. You think that 3D, for instance, is one dimension. And that there is one above and one below and one above that and one below that, etc. But no, 3D itself, as with all other dimensions, is infinite. I need you to grasp this concept before we can talk again about DNA. There is nothing on this planet Earth, hello James, that is finite. Nothing. Nothing. Isn't that interesting? Everything that you thought was finite really isn't. 3D itself is made up of 12 vibrations. And those 12 vibrations are made up of attributes. And those attributes are made up, and we can go on down the road until we end up with the potentials, right? What is behind the potentials? That is all that is. And that all that is, which would be that circle that we drew last time, that all that is would in the end, my beloved, end up again as just one potential at the back of one frequency within one vibration. So what you need to do is think infinitely layered now. Infinitely layered. And you can't do that with your brain, I'm afraid. Because your brain will always lead you down the wrong path. You need to think with your akene. Think with divinity installed. You need to remember that last time we spoke about the positive and the negative, duality. And how on top of that duality, that is divinity. It is that divinity that you are going to need as you are going to work with what is to come. Now you need to understand that not everybody on planet Earth at this point is going to get what I am saying. You are receiving this information because you have requested it yourself earlier than the rest of the ones playing the game. Why? Because there need to be pioneers. There need to be those who are the ones that are willing to put themselves out there full of trust, full of love, full of joy. Not knowing what the territory is going to be like that they are going to step into. And as they don't know that territory, that is really a space of trust. To stand there and to do that, knowing that you are doing something for all that is you. It is not an easy choice. It is not an easy process. We have all warned you before you came into the planet. Are you sure?
Yes.
We have all warned you. Are you sure that you want to do this? You have signed the waiver. I guess James only understood that. But anyway, you did it, and you are here, and you signed up to understand more about a full, infinite existence, so that you could be the first to bring this into the human unity consciousness. Thinking multi-layered, then, is a challenge unto itself. Go back to the first ekaraia on mastering the grand illusions, and remember what was said about the neurons coming into the brain that are fully and completely neutral. It is these neurons, cosmic beings, that allow you this multi-layered existence. If you don't activate them, it's not going to work. If you don't activate them, you can never see the hologram the dolphin sees, and the whale sees, and the turtle sees. Do you know what a dolphin or a whale, or a turtle, or several others, in fact, see when they are looking at you. They see the spiral of DNA. That is the multi-layeredness. And what they see is all of your moments that stretch back into the supposed past of linear time and that stretch forward. And as a healing is requested by one of these animals, all that happens in your past is a little shift of potential. It is that easy. It is that easy to change the course of your life. Just go back in that multi-layeredness of the spiral that is your DNA, which is infinite, and to take one potential and using potention, which we also spoke about last time, you have the ability to shift a negative potential and to place in front of that a positive one, draining up all that energy and making sure that your path opens up yet again. Now, as you should know, this information about mastering the grand delusions is leading somewhere. It is leading to January 28th, isn't it? The last day of that portal that brings you into the free energy. What is so special about that day? It is the day. There's three things I need to say. First of all, it is the day that all of your neutral neurons will be in your brain. That will start to flow through your entire body, that energy. Also, it is the day where your senses will no longer allow a three-dimensional image, which is also very interesting. And the third thing, it is the day that we are going to go back, all of us, all of those who are interested, and we're going to go back to that which you would call the original potential, the supposed Big Bang. Because you see, the Big Bang itself was filled with duality potential, always the positive and the negative. I have explained to you now that it is very easy to be multi-layered, and that through the infinite spiral you can just go back and look at all those other potentials which are almost infinite that you didn't quite activate in your past because of fear, because of pain, because of programming, etc. That's why you didn't choose the highest ones, right? So that 28th of January, we will take, and that will require all of us, not just myself, Ekara. It will require all the energy that has at one point spoken to planet Earth, wherever on the planet, to go back as a human unit, as a unity, you see, to that original potential that created the universe and all the universes, and to make from that duality a neutrality. And that is being in Source. That is the total immersion into the supposed insatiation. It isn't just finding mastery. It is a full rewiring or revamping or rewriting or whatever you want to call it, of all that has gone before. And what will happen is not just your negative potentials of your personal past that are going to be rewritten, no. There is going to be such a great field of potential so that all negative potential within all of the universes will be made into neutrality. All of it. And that is also the reason why so many beings, as Satya spoke last time, why so many beings are coming back onto planet Earth. Because it takes a lot of energy, you see, to manifest this within a 3D realm. I know right now for you 3D seems finite. I know that it seems as though you are in this room and there is almost no possibility, except for a little meditation maybe, that would just do it through the neocortex, to go to an alternate reality of this room. But actually I already gave it away. You can never go to an alternate reality. All there is triality, with a divinity and a neutrality. So, all you can do is go to alternate trialities, you see. I know it sounds far-fetched, but this is going to be a natural process to you, and it's not going to happen later than the beginning of next year. Knowing this, let's go back to DNA. What does DNA have to do with that? The triangle, the circle, and the infinity sign. The I am geometry. Everything. Everything. If you want to realize that your DNA is spiral in nature, if you want to understand that that spiral is infinite, then you need to understand about the layers, as I said mere minutes ago. And it's about those layers that you need to understand. That's where the key is. We've told you, the 3 points of the triangle are very important. If a multi-layered existence is an infinite existence, that means there are, within the one space of that one triangle, an infinite number of variations in which that triangle can manifest itself. That infinite number, ladies and gentlemen, shows up in the infinite amount of atoms, electrons, molecules, cells, people, plants, planets, stars, clusters, galaxies, and universes that the universes entail. That is the actual working of the akene, is it not? To give you that sense of self, self-manifestation, while at the same time you are just a variation of a totality. Well, most people thought that the universal manifest was getting quite boring, so we thought we'd spice things up a little. Ready for the next step? Let's start walking. Let's go beyond DNA. We have now just worked off, finished off, all that you need to know about three-dimensional, layered DNA. We're gonna go into the next level. If you go deeper within the spiral, and if you understand that the spiral is infinite because of its multi-layered nature, which would allow you to be at any given moment of the spiral at the same time, then there is a deeper ground. And I'm going to take you into that deeper ground now. It's not a space of energy. It is not a space of awareness. It is not a space that you can walk into proudly wearing the coat of your illusions. So please kindly leave those at the door. Otherwise you might get very lost indeed. And this will just end up as gibberish to you. Very sad if that happens. So if you now put off your coat, put it on the hanger over there. Let's step into my space. A space that I call my home. It is deep, deep within. The focal point of your DNA. Even though the spiral that you might infinitely walk in 3D will have no beginning, middle, and an end. Actually, if you think from an infinite perspective, it does have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I know this is completely throwing everything that you know about infinity out of the window, but infinity is at a certain point manifested, and it ends up at a certain point. However, you can only experience that point when all of the neurons in your brain will have ended up as neutral ones. What I'm going to tell you now is, well, basically the first time that this information is brought to planet Earth. And it will be supported by my good friends who are going to humanize it for you. Trustadamus and Katumi and some of the others to put what I am going to say in the coming minutes, days, months, years, I don't know. To put that in a human context. It is not necessarily necessary, strange choice of words, but it is interesting for you that they would do this in the coming months so you would have a notion of what I'm all going to tell you. Because obviously you believed that as you are going through the illusions that we would just have a set of 72 attributes that you would walk through. And obviously these attributes will end up in a work somewhere, probably a book or something, just for the sake of completion. But it's not about the attributes. It's not about simply understanding and mastering the attributes. That was what it was about. Did you hear that? Shall I say it again? Did you hear that? Fascinating. Now there is a stillness. A stillness that cannot be brought into movement by the vocalization of it. Vocalizing such a thing. And the thing that I have just communicated, vocalizing that, or even trying to understand it with your brain, is going to be a losing battle. I don't know if you are feeling this, but I am transmitting to each and every one of you, and all of those who can hear, see or read at a later point, and from that point onward to all of humanity, that which you would call the divinity codes. That's just a name for it. There is no name for it. As you have just stepped through the gateway of neutrality, for heaven's sake, I didn't even give you time to notice the room that you were in. I quickly let you pass through it, didn't I? There was another door. But as you got through that door, and you opened it up, instead of that white room, that white space that you usually walk through as you go through divinity, all of a sudden a door opened and there was a blackness. That's how your energy experienced this. At least the full Imzaia consciousness that I am usually communicating with took you through that door, and instead of boldly walking through it as you usually do, Imzaia, all of a sudden you halted. Because you noticed that when you wanted to step through that one, it might just be that this time the whiteness that you have gotten to know as a floor would no longer be supported. And that as you want to step through that door, you might start tumbling. Well, that blackness, that stillness, that total non-definition space could be quite scary. And still, you're going to have to jump without a parachute, without an umbrella to support you. I always loved Mary Poppins, one of Kutumi's best creations. Without any other thing. But I'm going to give you a handle, however, because if you don't have this handle, it's going to be quite difficult. And I'm asking you to hold on now, because I know that this is going to a very strange place indeed, this information. I shall give you the last attribute of all of the illusions. Each and every one has a set of 12. And each time, the 12th is the supposed point of reference. The point of reference. It's a very important point. For there is a reason why you can't step through that door. There is a reason when you opened it up just now as Imzaia consciousness all blended together, that what you saw was blackness, that what you saw was a total falling away of all laws. And that is because that space, my beloved, can't be entered into from a singular perspective. You can't. This, unfortunately, or should I say fortunately, is a door that you can only go through when you are in that I am, that I am, that I am. Only then. Now, you could tell yourselves that you are not at that point, so why the hell did that door open anyway? I beg to differ. The door opened because you are deluding yourselves that you are not yet at that point. Indeed. You are there. The delusion works as follows. If you do not want to see yourself from all perspectives of time and space, then you are going to limit yourself to a certain point, which would be the point of the observer. The divinity is the point of all expression. Not just the heart of all things, but the expression of all things, taking place in the observer and the observed, which would be a totality unto its own reflected back through that which you would call the monoids of geometry, as they implode with the knowledge of that which is you. That was just an explosion, darling, it's all right. I like some sound effects now and then. Not that I am not happy with you, James. So, if you know that, if you do, and you understand a lot about delusion and deluding yourselves, no. If you are not ready to accept that you are not just the heart of all things, but the expression of all things, meaning that you appear through the akene in everything that is around you, from the littlest bug, ladybug for instance, to the biggest star, the universe itself. You are expressing all of these things. And if you cannot accept that, then you are slowly going to build a prison all around you. Because that will start limiting yourself to the heart of all things, which is a good space to be in, but in a free energy world you can go way beyond that, can't you? So, if you are limiting yourselves then to the heart of all things, then that limitation is going to go further. And it is going to give you a personality. Because you are separating. And that personality, that act of separation is going to throw you in illusion. And all of you are still within illusion. All of you. It might show up grand in the face, or it might show up very, very small, nearly undetectable. And you will give yourselves, especially for the undetectable ones, so many petty excuses. And I'm going to tell you one thing. You should no longer accept listening to the excuses. We will no longer listen to the excuses that you put out there. Some of you have been waiting for a while now to take next steps, to go further, and it hasn't happened. And why? Very simple. Because you keep listening to your own excuses. And I'm going to say this here and now. We, as much as we would want, because we love all of you equally, because you are one, we cannot assist you in this process of growth if you keep making stories for yourselves. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is, Imzaia. If you keep making stories for yourselves about you know everything and you know how all things work, but maybe in your reality things are going to be a little bit different. Maybe you don't have to do it all the way. Maybe you don't have to take all the steps. Maybe you don't have to listen to all the information and take things completely at face value, completely in full trust, without asking why, without self-doubt, without doubt of the information itself, completely stepping into that. That was a sentence.
No.
If you are in that space, then you know why things haven't developed for you. That is the nature of your delusion. However, the good news is that it all goes back to where we just started, the expression of all things. You can rest assured that everything, that every aspect of yourself that is still holding you back, where you are not willing to make the sacrifice of stepping out of humanity fully, is to be brought back to that space, the expression of all things. Because if you do not believe that you are the expression of all things, why then? Then you believe in separation, don't you? And that's quite a bummer. Because separation isn't going to help you. If there is separation, then you need to believe in unification. If there is separation, then you need to believe in two or more becoming one. And you have lived that dream. It is the American dream. It is the dream of this society. And the dream is about love. You need to let go, fully, completely, and utterly, of that dream. of separation, finding itself here in 3D and becoming one again. If you can't do that, that door that we just showed you is always going to look like a void. That's what the void was like. Don't you remember when it was inside of you? Black, sucking you into it, empty, cold, no up or above or below or whatever, no floor to walk on, just a tumbling pit of darkness that you would fall into. Now that void is no longer just your heart center. You have pushed it away from there through the emission that Adamus has helped you with, and Kutumi. Now, that void, my beloved ladies and gentlemen, is showing up at the very house, the very start of your DNA. You see, if this center here were to be the center of your DNA spiral, where it all starts, then that would mean that if we're going to create a spiral, it would manifest something like this. And to the very bottom here, and of course, this is just a sketch, would be the human you. And as you walk up that spiral, as you start integrating that completely, as you really think multi-layered now, then you would understand that there is an end to the spiral, and it is in the center of your I am presence, obviously. That's where you were just taken. That's where you opened the door and didn't see the wholeness, but only the void. And that is because you are not yet the expression of all things. And that is because at a certain stage, if you go back and back and back, deeper down the DNA spiral, you end up with you. And what do you find? A flawed human. Because you go further and further and further away from this point here. And you start believing that that point entails a void. So what do? You start copying that void into your DNA paradigm until you become human. And in that human space, the DNA is already flawed. On the 72nd layer of that spiral lies the answer to this. Because that's the spiral. The spirally strand, I should actually say, that deals with time and space. If you can take time and space out of the equation of consciousness, you are going to allow yourselves to be on this spiral everywhere at the same time. Wouldn't this then be this point right here in the middle? Wouldn't this then be your top life? It is. And it is where you are right now. You're standing in front of that door. and the room seems to be dark and scary. It isn't. Just don't believe in the stories that you are telling yourselves. Stories of fear, stories of loss, even the positive stories. You know, my beloved humans, actually sometimes I think Imzaia got the good cut of the deal when he said, "I will stop speaking unless you take action." Sometimes I wish I could do the same thing, to stop speaking. Sometimes I know that Adamus and so many of the others have the same feeling run through them as we are discussing our work here on this planet Earth. We can say all we want. You can wait all you want. We can just keep the door open, put our hand out. We can put the nice veil of gold we can do everything that we need to do to make things more fascinating for those aspects of us that are you, to step through them. But there's one thing that we can't do. That's interference with free will. We can't interfere with your free will. We would never do that. Problem then is that you might be tiptoeing in front of that door for a very long time. And you keep making up your stories. And they're all based on the expression of all things that you cannot grasp. Because you are still in a desire, you see, looking from one point of view to another point of view. Be that a person, an object, a situation, whatever. One point of view, the other point of view. I want something. And now you might think that you have managed the one point of view and the other point of view, and that you can keep it that way because it is no longer based on desire or wants or needs. Wrong. You're human. You're here, even though you are not calling yourselves human anymore. Anything in matter wants something. It wants to live, survive, go on, reproduce, experience, but beyond that door, there is no more experience. You can always step back, however, into the infinite field of experience that 3D will then become. But before you can step back, you have to step in, don't you? I invite all of you in tonight. It is said that the best parties of the universe are held by that door.
Yeah. Sure about that?
Oh yes. Are you sure about that?
I'm sure.
So, all I can say is that the next time that I'm going to speak, which is going to be tomorrow, in your time frame at least, I will only make sense to those who have stepped through. All the others will just hear mumbo jumbo.
Hallelujah.
Like that mumbo jumbo, yes? You are not realizing something, Imzaia. At least not all of you. What you are being told now is the culmination of everything that you have been working towards. And I'm not just talking about this incarnation. I am talking about the culmination of all of your lives coming together. I am talking about the culmination of humanity as a whole coming together. But as the human psyche, the human consciousness, and the human awareness blend as one and step through that door, there is an initial momentum needed. It has always been described as 144,000, yes? It has gone way beyond that, I know. That's the good thing. It has gone way beyond 144,000. It has gone to millions of people. But what good is millions of people if they all start tiptoeing around that door, asking, can we quickly go to the toilet? Can I maybe get another cup of coffee? Oh, maybe I forgot to program my VCR. I should go back home before I go back through that door. I need to kiss my lover goodbye one more time. I need to do all of these things. No. Either you belong to that group that is going to create that initial momentum, and you have no more doubt, no more anything holding you back so that the momentum can be created, or you choose not to be part of the momentum, knowing that the human consciousness and the human awareness will eventually be going through that door. But if you are going to be the pioneer, if you are going to be the one to do it, I implore you to let go of your stories and to step through. I think that I was the last one to come in the last few days and give you a message of urgency. To let you know that the time for tiptoeing around the door is over. It is not because something bad is going to happen to planet Earth if you don't. It is because we, you see, are not bureaucrats. We don't like going to the same job day in, day out and doing the same thing. We like to get things going, to get things moving. We don't like to fill out the same forms time and time and time again and hear you repeat the same phrases towards one another about how you are evolving and how beautiful that is. Now it is time to put your money, or your heart in this case, where your bloody mouth is. And it isn't so strange that there is reaction coming from the room all this time. It is normal that there would be a reaction to this type of information. But I am telling you one thing. We are tired of waiting. And we are not going to be waiting. So if you are on that train, as Tobias would say it, of quantum energy, if you are that pioneer and that ambassador of free energy, then in your heart, use the next hours to stand up, to take that sword of truth and to go forward and to step through the gateway. I am going to go there now, again. The others, such as Adamus, are asked to remain, and some aspects of myself as well, to remain here. In the coming hours, as you prepare for that movement, because you need to do it, you see. Because if you don't do it now, you won't have the momentum to build up towards January 28th. That is why, from our point of view at least, it was important to create an energy such as this one yet again. It wasn't just about bringing you beyond illusion as the Weave Your World Fellowship thought. It was also about creating that momentum. So I'll see you, hopefully, on the other side as Adamus and Co, our friends, will be holding the door open for you and will be giving you some more information about what you might expect as you step through. The only thing I can tell you is you are not going to see darkness there. And you are not going to see the void there. You are not going to see any of those things. What you are going to see then is that. So, it seems like the last few days that we have spoken to each other, be it I or be it any of the others, we have given you a lot of opportunities to say yes. We give you another opportunity to say yes. And don't forget this. This is being spoken to all of you. All Imzaia. And it is spoken to you extremely individually. Although the last part of this information will have come through the same for everybody, it is spoken on such an individual level that I know that you will need the coming days, as humans always need a couple of days to get out of their days, to actually step through it. So I will be going back and forth. But in the end, after these 5 days are over, I'm not saying that the door will shut, but I am saying that I will be assisting that initial momentum that went through to create that space on the other side. The door will never be shut. And we will always be on that other side, creating that new space. But please, take a good individual look at yourself and see what you are doing. See what you are doing. And what the momentum is that has brought you here. Not here. Here. Are you ready to go deeper in there so that it might take you higher? Or are you going to stay out here in this illusion? I ask you now. Instead of giving you one of those long outros that we sometimes do, I'm just gonna say you now. Hopefully I'll see all of you on the other side.
Yes.
And so it is.